right, so you want to know more about how the people you surround yourself with affect your chances of success.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating topic.
So we're calling this idea selective friendships.
Uh-huh.
And, the stuff you sent over is pretty interesting. It really seems like there's something to this idea that you got to choose your friends carefully if you're really serious about reaching your full potential.
It's not just about who you hang out with for fun, right?
Exactly. It's about who's in your corner, who's pushing you, and who's helping you become the best version of yourself.
The research is pretty wild, actually. It suggests that who you hang out with can be just as important as hard work.
Or even talent.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
I know, right?
I've always heard that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
But these sources, they go even deeper.
They do.
They talk about making tough choices, about who gets to stay in that inner circle.
Yeah, sometimes it even means letting go of relationships that are holding us back.
Even if they're not like bad people.
Exactly. It's not about being judgmental. It's about recognizing when a friendship has run its course.
And making space for new connections that are more aligned with where you're headed.
It's like a rocket launching into space.
Oh, I like this.
It has to shed those stages to reach its destination.
Oh, wow. That's a really good analogy.
Right. We might need to let go of things that are comfortable.
Like relationships or habits.
Yeah, even if it's hard to reach our full potential.
So it's not about burning bridges or anything like that. It's about growth and evolution.
Absolutely, for ourselves and for our relationship.
I like that.
And one thing that comes up a lot in these sources is this whole idea of solitude.
Okay.
Now, before you think I'm telling you to go live in a cave,
Yeah.
solitude is really about intentionally spending time alone.
Not because you're lonely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about using that time as a tool for self-discovery.
One of the sources even called it a secret weapon for high achievers.
It is, it really is.
It's like carving out that space to recharge and to get really clear on your goals.
It's like stepping back from all the noise and really tuning into your inner compass.
Yeah.
And the benefits go beyond just goal setting.
Okay, how so?
Well, studies have shown that solitude can boost creativity.
Really?
Yeah, it can improve problem-solving skills, and it can even make you more resilient.
That's incredible.
That's like a superpower.
So how does someone actually do solitude?
Well, it can be as simple as taking a walk in nature,
Okay.
journaling, meditating, or even just disconnecting from technology for a few hours.
So just creating some space to think.
Yeah, the key is to create space where you can disconnect from external distractions and tune into your inner voice.
I'm starting to see how solitude fits into this whole selective friendships idea.
Yeah.
By getting clear on who we are and what we want when we're alone,
Right.
we're in a much better position to choose friends who actually support that vision.
It's like becoming the CEO of your own life.
I love that analogy.
You get clear on your mission statement, your values,
Right.
and then you build a team, your friends, who align with that vision.
So once we've done that inner work, the solitude part,
Right.
how do we actually know who to let into our boardroom, so to speak?
Yeah.
What are we looking for in a true selective friendship?
The sources highlight a few key traits.
Okay, like what?
Loyalty is a big one.
Loyalty.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the I'll like your Instagram posts kind of loyalty.
Okay.
I'm talking about I'll be there for you when you mess up kind of loyalty.
Yeah.
True friends offer support without judgment.
Right.
They challenge you to grow, but they never tear you down.
They celebrate your wins.
Yes,
And help you learn from your mistakes.
exactly. It's like having a buffer against life's challenges.
I actually read a study that showed that people with strong social support are more resilient
They are. It's true.
in the face of stress.
Okay.
Like having a built-in safety net.
Yeah, and another important trait is shared ambition. When you surround yourself with people who are also striving for something meaningful,
Yeah.
it creates this upward spiral of motivation and inspiration.
So you push each other.
Right, you hold each other accountable and you celebrate each other's successes.
It's like having a built-in support system
It is.
that's specifically designed to help you reach your goals.
Exactly.
And speaking of goals, the sources also talked about choosing friends who respect your time and understand your need to focus.
Yes, that's crucial.
Because sometimes you need to say no to things, even fun things to stay on track.
Right.
True friends get that.
They don't guilt you or make you feel bad for prioritizing your dreams.
That's so true. I've definitely been in situations where I felt pressured to go out or do things that I wasn't really feeling
Right.
just to please other people.
Yeah, it happens.
But then I just ended up feeling drained and resentful.
Yeah, and it takes you away from the things that really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is, especially when you're trying to be everything to everyone.
Right. We forget that we have a limited amount of energy.
Yes, we do.
And time.
Yeah, if we spread ourselves too thin, it ultimately holds us back from reaching our full potential.
It's like trying to juggle too many balls at once.
Exactly. Something's got to drop.
Right. So it's about being really intentional with our energy,
Yes.
with our time, and with our relationships.
Absolutely. And that brings us right back to this idea of selective friendships.
Okay.
It's about making sure that the people in your inner circle are the ones who energize you, inspire you, and support you on your journey.
I'm curious, is there ever a time when having a bigger network is beneficial?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it depends on your goals and your personality.
Okay.
Some people thrive on having a wide circle of acquaintances,
Right.
while others prefer a smaller, more intimate group.
Maybe it's about finding the right balance.
I think so.
Having that core group of selective friends who you can really rely on, but also being open to connecting with people from different backgrounds and perspectives.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about being intentional and discerning in all of our relationships.
Whether they're deep friendships or just casual acquaintances.
Exactly.
Choosing the right people to be a part of our journey can have a huge impact on our lives.
Huge, both personally and professionally.
We've covered a lot of ground already in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
This idea of making tough choices, the power of solitude, and some key qualities to look for in those selective friendships.
It's a lot to think about.
But how do we actually put this into practice?
Yeah, that's the big question.
What are the steps to create this kind of intentional inner circle?
That's what we're going to explore in part 2, so be sure to stick with us.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
If you like the podcast, make sure you subscribe for the next session.
Welcome back to our deep dive on choosing the right friends for success.
We've covered a lot of ground already, but it's one thing to talk about it.
Right.
It's another thing to actually put it into practice.
Absolutely.
So let's get practical. What are some actual steps people can take to be more intentional about their friendships?
Well, I think the first step is to honestly assess your current relationships.
Okay.
Ask yourself, who energizes me and who leaves me feeling drained?
That's a good question.
Think about the people you spend the most time with. Do they support your goals? Do they inspire you? Or do they kind of hold you back with negativity or a lack of ambition?
It's so easy to just go with the flow.
It is.
Especially with people you've known for a long time.
Right.
But sometimes we've got to create some distance.
Yeah, and it's not about judging anyone
Right.
or labeling them as good or bad.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that different people serve different purposes in our lives
Right.
at different times.
I like that.
Someone who was a great friend in college might not be the best fit for you now that you're both pursuing different paths.
It's like that saying, some people are for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Exactly.
And it seems like these sources are saying that being intentional means figuring out which category each relationship falls into.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Okay, so that's assessing our current relationships.
Right.
What about finding new ones that are more aligned with where we're headed?
Well, the sources talk a lot about embracing solitude as a way to strengthen our relationships.
I thought solitude was a solo activity.
It is. But here's the thing. When you spend time alone, you get to know yourself better.
Okay.
You figure out your values, your non-negotiables, the things that bring you joy. And when you have that clarity, you're better equipped to choose friends who align with that vision, who complement your strengths, and who challenge you to grow in healthy ways.
So solitude is almost like a prerequisite for selective friendships.
I think so.
You got to know yourself before you can know who you want to surround yourself with.
That's right. And as you become more discerning, you'll naturally gravitate towards people who resonate with your authentic self.
Okay, so we've got assessing our current relationships and embracing solitude. What about those situations where you can't exactly choose who you're around, like coworkers or family members?
That's a good point. There are definitely some relationships we can't just walk away from.
Right.
But even in those situations, we still have a choice in how we interact, how much we share, and what boundaries we set.
So it's about managing those relationships in a way that protects our energy.
Yes.
And keeps us focused on our goals.
Exactly. And remember, boundaries aren't about being rude or shutting people out.
Right.
They're about creating healthy space for yourself to thrive.
So maybe that means politely declining invitations.
Yeah.
Redirecting conversations.
Right.
Or limiting time spent with people who bring you down.
Exactly. It's about putting yourself first.
In a way that allows you to show up as your best self in all your relationships.
That's it. And you might be surprised at how much easier it becomes to attract the kind of friendships you desire.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like you're sending out this signal that says, hey, I'm ambitious. I'm growth-oriented. Who's with me?
What about people who are actively looking for those kinds of friendships? People who are feeling lonely and want to find their tribe.
That's a great question. And the sources really emphasize that, attracts. Okay, so if you're looking for friends who share your passions and ambitions, the best place to start is by pursuing those passions yourself.
So join clubs, take classes, attend events.
Exactly. Put yourself out there in environments where you're likely to meet like-minded people.
Amen.
And don't be afraid to strike up conversations. Share your goals and genuinely connect with others.
Putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, it's not always easy.
It's not, but it's a necessary part of finding those true selective friendships.
Okay, so we're being intentional, we're putting ourselves out there. What else?
Well, the sources also talk about the importance of being a good friend yourself.
Oh, of course. It's a two-way street.
Exactly. If you want to attract loyal, supportive friends, you need to embody those qualities as well.
So be there for your friends when they need you.
Yes.
Celebrate their wins, offer support during tough times, and be honest but kind in your feedback.
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of small gestures.
Like what?
Sending a thoughtful text, remembering a birthday offering to help with a project, those little acts of kindness go a long way.
I think this highlights the fact that building and maintaining strong friendships takes effort.
It does. It's like anything else in life that's worthwhile.
So how do we move from casual acquaintances to true friends?
One of the most powerful things you can do is be vulnerable.
Vulnerable?
Yeah. Share your hopes, your fears, your dreams. Invite people into your world and be genuinely interested in theirs.
So it's about moving beyond the surface level small talk.
Right, and creating space for real, authentic conversations.
And when we do that,
It creates a foundation of trust and mutual respect, which are essential for any strong friendship.
it sounds like building these kinds of relationships takes ongoing effort and attention.
It does. It's not a one-time fix. It's a continuous process of growth and evolution.
It's like tending to a garden.
I love that analogy.
You have to water it, weed it, nurtures it.
And just like a beautiful garden brings joy and nourishment, so do strong, supportive friendships.
And just like a garden, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Exactly.
It's about cultivating those relationships with care and intention.
That's beautiful. And speaking of blossoming in part 3, we're going to explore how these intentional friendships actually contribute to our success.
Okay, so we've talked about the why and the how.
Yeah.
Now it's time to uncover the what. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive.
Right.
We talked about why choosing the right friends is so important. And we've even gone over some steps for how to actually do it.
Right.
But now I want to know, what's the payoff?
Yeah.
How does all of this translate into real success?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think this is where the sources get really interesting now. The benefits of these selective friendships, they go way beyond just feeling good. They actually have a real impact on our lives.
Okay, so let's bring it down. Let's start with the personal stuff. What kind of impact do these relationships have on, our well-being?
Yeah. Well, imagine you're surrounded by people who are genuinely rooting for you. People who support you without judgment, challenge you to grow and celebrate your wins like they're their own.
Sounds pretty awesome.
It is. It creates a really empowering and nurturing environment.
Like having a personal cheering section.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that. Studies show that people with strong social support are more resilient.
Resilient, how so?
They're better able to handle stress and adversity.
Oh, interesting.
They bounce back from setbacks more quickly and effectively.
Because they know they have people they can count on.
Exactly. And when you combine that resilience with the inspiration and motivation that comes from being around other ambitious people, it's a recipe for personal growth.
Yeah, you're more likely to push yourself and try new things.
Right. And ultimately become the best version of yourself.
Okay, so that's the personal side. What about professionally? How do these friendships actually help us succeed in our careers?
That's a great question. And the sources actually highlight a lot of connections here. First, remember how we talked about shared ambition?
Yeah. Surrounding yourself with people who are equally driven creates this amazing energy that pushes you forward.
You feed off each other's energy and motivation.
Exactly. You bounce ideas off each other, offer support and advice, and hold each other accountable.
It's like having a built-in mastermind group for your career.
That's a great way to put it.
And it goes beyond just support and motivation, right?
It does. These relationships can open doors for you professionally.
How so?
Your friends might introduce you to valuable contacts, share job opportunities, or offer insights based on their own experiences.
Oh, wow. So it's like expanding your network exponentially.
Exactly. And don't forget about shared learning.
Okay.
Your friends might have skills that you don't,
Right.
and you might have skills that they don't. By sharing your expertise, you can help each other grow professionally.
So it's like a personalized mentorship program.
I like that.
Yeah.
And one more benefit I want to mention is the positive influence on decision making.
Okay.
When you're facing a tough career choice, whether it's taking a new job or negotiating a raise,
Having those supportive friends to talk it through with can be invaluable.
they can offer different perspectives,
Exactly. And help you weigh the pros and cons.
help you make decisions that align with your goals.
And avoid potential pitfalls.
We've really uncovered some powerful insights about the connection between selective friendships and success, both personally and professionally.
It's been a really insightful journey.
Choosing our friends wisely. It's not just about who we spend our free time with.
No, it's not.
It's about investing in our future.
I love that. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. Nurture the connections that lift you higher, that inspire you to dream bigger, and that challenge you to grow. Because when you surround yourself with the right people, the possibilities are limitless.
Thank you so much for sharing all your insights on this fascinating topic. And to you listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective